Hey everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Championship Week for the two that made it this far. Again, Merry Christmas, all out today for you guys. Wet Bandits, Home Alone, Sticky Bandits, and Home Alone 2. Who cares about the ones after that? So, real quick little breakdown from last week. I sucked as a manager this past week. Um, that's just all I'm gonna say. Is I let myself down. I should be in the championship, but I made some bad management decisions, and I'm not here. I'm not in it. So I'm battling for third place against Rafi this week. But aside from that, I picked every other game right last week. So, and some of my prediction. I keep saying predictions. It's either predictions or projections. Get it right. Say it once. Say it right. Move on. Predictions and projections last week were spot on, except for my own game. Again, whatever. I sucked. Good job, Jess. You won. Still salty. It's okay. Went 4-1 last week. Picked myself wrong again. I'm just gonna keep putting salt on the wounds because I did it to myself. But the other games, I'm not really gonna do a breakdown. I'm just gonna go into the championship pick for the week. Kind of break down everyone's the two teams that are in it and move on. But last week, just more so just because I want to say something happy about myself going 4-1 last week with picks, except for getting myself wrong again. Picked myself to win by 4.5. I lost by 3.3. So, I picked it to be a close game, the closest game of the weekend it was. So, wrong side of the coin, but yeah, Kyler Murray on my bench with 38 points. That would have done it for me. Leonard Fournette on my bench with 21.5. That would have done for me if I started him over any of my other running backs. But my running backs did well. My wide receivers completely let me down. Defense got 0. Yeah. Jess, Derek Carr gave you 1 point on Thursday. And, you just ended up doing enough to win. Mike Evans gave you 17. Travis Kelce and Derrick Henry are just bosses all year for you. You got the kicker in the league that everybody wants, apparently, Younghoe Koo. 11 points. Maybe if you actually freaking missed a field goal every once in a while, I would have won, but is what it is. Moving on, the other playoff matchup that actually mattered was John versus Rafi. So John took Rafi down 174.36, which was probably one of the top 3 or 4 scores of the week, of the season. Sorry, Rafi put up almost 163. That probably would have been like, I don't know, 5th, 6th, or 7th highest of the year. Unfortunately, just was not quite enough. And for you, it was everybody but your running backs that did well for you. Again, having, Christian McCaffrey on the bench for, all year really hurt you. But, big game out of Justin Herbert, almost 31 points, 30 points from your tight end Darren Waller, another 30 from DeAndre Hopkins, 11 points from your defense, 22 points from Brandon Ayuk, 18 points from Justin Jefferson. It's like, how did you lose? Because Chris Carson didn't even get you 9. Mike Davis only got you 8. Your kicker only got you 3. John could have had more points, sadly, if he had started Ryan Tannehill over Josh Allen, which, again, you wouldn't do, but just 174 points is it's just a good job. And one of your starters, Antonio Gibson, was on the bench, so out all week. I think he's out again this week, so I'll see who you're playing this week for your team, because I think you had Cam Akers last week, but I want to say he's out this week as well. Again, I haven't even looked at the matchup championship game, so let's go through real quick. Last week, John, I predicted to win by 11. Guess what? He won by 11.7, so I'd say that's pretty freaking spot on. Matt, I predicted to win by 6. Guess what? He won by 5.6. Again, spot on. Joe, I picked in the blowout of the week to win by 20. It ended up being almost 80. So, yeah, was I close on the overall point spread? No, but I picked him to win, so that's good enough. Foley over Mickey, I picked that one as well. I thought Brian was going to win by 8. Mickey just, Cam Newton, starting quarterback, only gave you 9. Just no one. Tyler Boyd, I don't even know if he played last week, got you 0 in your flex. But, again, these are matchups that didn't necessarily matter. I picked him to win by 8. He won by 36, almost. Quick math there. So, again, overall, I finished between, for those, adding those picks in, I'm 25 and 19 overall. So, Joe, feel free to, play some bets against me next year, because it looks like I'm finally getting the hang of this whole pick'em thing. Except for myself. Let's see here. Scoreboard. Let's move on to this week. So, real quick, the offer sheet I said I was never going to cover again, but just because the season's not over until the season is literally over, I still was active on the waiver wire, battling for third place against Ralph. No, just because I wanted to, continue on, spend all that fairy dust, spend that Monopoly money. You do not pass go, do not collect $200. Do I have something in my teeth? Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, anybody getting the reference? Okay. So I picked up Le'Veon Bell for $16 just because, I figured seeing Jess having a bad RB2 and no other backup options, I kind of just, not necessarily in spite of her, but I knew John also had some injury, so just threw out $16 on him. I grabbed him. I see John try to get him for $9. John also picked up the Browns defense. Brian Foley with a big pickup, Austin Hooper for $1, and John also picked up Corey Davis for $1, who he's not playing, but again, it could have been the same thing. It could have been just to take somebody else away from Jess possibly this week. So, breakdown. 10-3 first overall, John Page versus 7-6. Just made the playoffs in 6th place, Jess Butler. Okay. John has the head-to-head, won both games this year in the regular season. John's predicted to win by 20, right on the dot by 20. Quarterback matchup, Jess still has Derek Carr. She's got Drew Brees on the bench. I mean, between those, and I'd say even Ryan Tannehill on John's bench is better than both of those. So quarterback margin definitely goes to John. Derrick Henry versus Dalvin Cook, that's basically a push. Based on who they're playing this week, I'd almost give it to, because, yeah, they're both going up against pretty good rush defenses. But you know what? I'll go Dalvin. And then RB2, James Robinson against Gus Edwards. That's obviously James Robinson. Calvin Ridley without Julio Jones. A.J. Brown, coin flip to play, I think, this week. So John might have to dig into his bench a little bit against Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp. So, Calvin Ridley is a beast, especially even with Julio on the field, but he's even more so without Julio on the field. But Kansas City can do something to take him away. Mike Evans at Detroit, that should do pretty well for him. Cooper Kupp at Seattle. Just because I don't know if... Yeah, I'm giving the nod to Jess there. Just because I think, Mike Evans only predicted for 15, Cooper Kupp only 13.3. I think they both do better than that. She's got Travis Kelce. John's got Mark Andrews. Obvious nod to Travis Kelce there. It doesn't matter who the other tight end is. Emmanuel Sanders and Justice Flex. All right, I'll go... Yeah, Darrell Henderson should get the ball a lot because Cam Akers is out. I mean, I don't need to break it down too much further. I know, obviously, I'm going to pick John here, right? You guys have just all season, he's been not even my number one when I did the first power rankings, but ever since then, number one on top of the board all the rest of the year. Picking John, I don't think it's going to be by 20. I'd say it's closer to 10. So I'll go 11.5. John by 11.5, final pick of the year. Everybody else's matchups don't matter. Let the lottery balls fall how they fall. Get everybody in their standings for end of year standings. Thanks again for bringing me into the league last year, and we'll see what happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't think there's any Monday games. No, I don't think the last 2 weeks they do Monday games, but 3 days in a row of football. We got some basketball on today too. Celtics are on at 5, I think, against the Nets. So let's all boo Kyrie when he gets introduced. Screw him. Durant looks pretty good in game 1 though. So let's go. Merry Christmas, everybody. Until next year. See ya.